So I just got to Masters again, the first time since Season 4, and today I want to talk about kind of how I got there, what I did to get there, and overall just mainly, kind of what happened. And hopefully with that in mind, you'll be able to kind of learn maybe some of your mistakes, some of the things you're doing right now that you could fix up on, and how to hopefully get to Masters with yourself. And at the very end, I'll try to give you guys some just plain out tips to help yourself get from Diamond to Masters. Now, for myself this season, I've really wanted to try to get to Masters playing DPS. For every season in the past, I have overall played tank or support. At the beginning of the season, I started to pick up Doomfist and play him as much as I could. Now, at the very beginning of the season, I could usually get away with playing him, and I think by the time I quit playing Doomfist quite a bit, I had around a 60% win rate with 3 or 4 hours. Not way too bad. But I just kind of couldn't really get him anymore. And I guess one thing I'm going to say about Season 8 is that it's really hard to rank up as DPS this season. And I'm going to say even harder than any previous season because people don't want to play Mercy anymore. People don't want to play tank anymore. And you're going to kind of have to fill those roles. Otherwise, you're just going to have to play with a bad team comp with a lot of DPS players. And while that is possible, it's a lot harder than in previous seasons. So that's one thing I'm going to say about playing DPS. Now, I will also say that it is still possible to win as DPS in this season still. I think especially with a lot of flankers, if you can get 1 or 2 kills per your death every single time, you're probably going to end up winning the game. You're probably going to end up climbing with that character. It's going to be hard, obviously, but you still can climb even with bad team comps, and especially if you just go in when your Mercy has ult, or right after you pick the enemy Mercy while your Mercy has ult, you're pretty much guaranteed to win that fight as well. So don't worry about team comps way too badly, but it will be generally a little bit harder to rank up this season as DPS than previous seasons, at least from my own experience, and especially with the not super powerful characters. With Junkrat and Tracer, I don't think it'll be way too hard. I think it'll be a little bit harder than normal, but with most of the characters, do just kind of realize that. Now, for myself, I eventually switched off playing Doomfist, and I haven't played him in a while, and what I went to next was trying to play as much Mercy as possible. And for the first while, it was working. I was getting up 60-70% win rate. I was playing the character. I think I was at the very bottom of Diamond. I just barely got out of Plat because I was placed in Plat this season. That kind of sucks. Like 2,800 or something. But I barely got into Diamond with Doomfist, started to play Mercy, and it started to work out pretty dang well. You could get out those consistent heals. You could be the best support in the game. And if you had a Mercy and the enemy didn't, you effectively just won that game. But as I started to climb the ranks, I realized that playing Mercy, for me at least, kind of just became a gamble, like a 50-50 gamble. Either I win this game or I lose this game, and it doesn't really matter what I do because I can't really outplay that much. The only thing I could do compared to the enemy Mercy was use my ultimate better, but oftentimes where you shouldn't be using your ultimate, maybe you should be using it because your teammates are doing a really dumb play and going in, and vice versa. And that became kind of hard to get used to, just knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. And at a certain rank, my Mercy just became about average, and I eventually just topped off at a 50% win rate as Mercy, and then I just kept winning and losing games, and I've been stuck at a 50% win rate with Mercy, so no, I haven't really climbed with that easier. I would say one thing about Mercy is that if you're a player that, you often have really bad games, going Mercy can be okay because you're pretty much just going to stay at the exact rank that you're at right now. But I don't think it's way too easy to climb with this character right now. And I think in the past it was really easy because the MMR system essentially just boosted Mercy players with like a 51 or 52% win rate, a lot higher than other characters. But this season it's not really doing that. So I don't know, Mercy, at least for me, didn't really help way too much either. I just kind of bottomed out. Now, what I did after that was switch up to playing tank. The role that I looked in the past, I've really done the best with. I think in Season 3, when I was really grinding this game, I had like 55 hours on Zarya or something. I had like a 59% win rate, getting in there. I think I went all the way from the bottom of gold to diamond that season, like halfway through diamond, so that was pretty awesome. But I started to decide maybe I should play tank again. And this season, as you guys have probably noticed from my last few videos, I decided to pick up Deva, and not even way too long ago. It was only about a week or two ago that I decided to pick up this character, but it's been working really well for me, and I feel like this type of character can work well for a lot of players, because I don't think she's way too hard. As long as you don't overextend, you aren't really going to kill yourself way too much, and that's the thing you should do with every tank. Just try not to die, and you're probably going to win the fight, but you don't overextend. You know how to finish off kills and pick off kills, and if you can get some half-decent ultimates, you can often save a lot of games, and you can stall a lot with this character. There's a lot of good benefits to Deva and to characters like her, and I guess even Zarya, as it can get out a lot of damage while still tanking, while still making good team comp. And overall, that worked out quite well for me. I picked Deva up at, I think around 3150 or something. So really just the very bottom of diamond about. Played her, and eventually right now I have like an 81% win rate all the way up to Masters. you know, I think that's a pretty good character, and I think that's someone that, you know, you maybe want to try if you're a DPS player, because she does feel a lot like a DPS now. She can get a lot of kills. Just make sure that you aren't going in by yourself, and make sure you aren't the one going in first, because you're kind of just going to die in that situation, and that's what's happened to me quite a bit, and that's the main thing I'm going to say I kind of learned about this. Now, one of the final things I want to talk about is my last game that got me to Masters, and hopefully I have the footage of this right here, and maybe I'll even show some of it at the end. I was put on Horizon Lunar Colony. I had to fill Mercy. That's my least favorite map. That's my least favorite character that I'm going to have to play a lot because you're just so good. And there was the 50-50. In situations like that, just try not to tilt. Halfway through that game, or I think even earlier, we got someone that eventually went AFK. The enemy team got the first point. That guy came back. They got the second point quickly after, and then swapped to us playing offense. We had to do the same exact thing. I think we eventually won that game, and it finally got me to Masters. But I think you kind of want to remember is that at every rank, there's going to be some unfortunate situations that show up, and at every rank, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to get through, and that's something I've really felt everywhere. As I go up through the ranks, I don't really feel like there's super huge gaps between skill, honestly. I can play with my friends at Plat and play with my friends at Masters, and it feels honestly pretty similar. It's just the biggest mistakes, and I guess of course tracking and getting nice ultimates and everything like that, but really the big mistakes that start to go down. But you know, they don't always go down. You still will get some nice ultimates from soldiers and some really nice AFKs from your teammates. I guess you just kind of have to keep that in mind. Now, some other stuff I want to talk about me, I guess, getting to Masters, and that might be able to help you get to Masters, is what to focus on when you're trying to improve yourself. Now, for myself, I started to watch a lot of Deva videos. I decided, you know what, I want to pick up this character. She's a bruiser, whatever. I've already talked about that. And I started to watch started to watch YouTubers like Cyanite, Low-Key Nerd, Level 5 Pigeon, I think that's his name. Just whatever I could find, honestly, about guides about this character. I think overall I know quite a bit about the game. I've watched a ton of gameplay. I've played forever, but there's still even a ton for me to learn. So, watched up on all of those guides and learned a lot about positioning. Learned about when to go in, and mainly learned how to not die quite as much, because with a lot of characters, I think that's one of the most important things. If you can stay alive for longer, you can apply a lot more to the fight, and you can make so that your team has a much higher chance of winning, because they won't have to waste a res on you, and during that time where you might have had to been resed in the past, you can still be getting out damage, and they can save that res for someone else. So I think that's kind of an important thing to get down, where to be, when to be there, when to not die. And I think the most important thing that I've just learned from playing this game and from trying to rank up is ultimates. These matter more than like anything else. I don't care if you're getting consistent picks. I don't care if your teammates are. I don't care if your teammates keep dying. It doesn't really matter. You can get whomped for the first 3.5 minutes on Volskaya, but still win the point by timing your ultimates together. So get into voice chat and call out when to use ultimates. Oftentimes your teammates won't talk back in voice chat. Oftentimes they'll just lurk there, and you know, if they don't even have a mic, just ask them to get in voice chat, and then just keep saying to them, hey guys, wait, okay, now we can go in, everybody ult, we got a pick, and go in like that. And well, I probably say only go in when you do have a pick, because oftentimes you might even lose with all your ultimates, but by just combining ultimates, you win team fights, and it's not way too hard, and you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to win that, especially if you can get a key pick, especially on the Mercy. That's a thing that you want to learn right now, and if you can't do that, I think it's going to be a much harder game for you to rank up with than anything else. I guess one final thing I want to say is that you have to kind of learn how to beat out Smurfs and how to beat out really good players. Now, you could do this just by becoming better yourself, but let's be honest, that's going to take a long time, and they are really good practice. I'm going to say that. If you're a DPS player and you're trying to play versus another one, they are really good practice. But what I feel like is more useful to try to beat out these players is by using shields more than them, because oftentimes these guys do have really good aim. They can pop off amazingly just by getting kills. But if you're using shields and if you're using walls and corners better than the enemy, you can have much worse aim but still win. And especially if you're just going in with your tanks or going in with your supports backing you up, you can still win versus somebody that's hard to counter. And even versus like a Widowmaker, which I know there's been a lot of Smurfs and which are very hard to deal with, just always hide around corners and wait for the enemy to engage on you on point. Still stay around that corner, play next to your tanks, and just make it almost impossible for the person that's really good at the game to do that good. Especially if you're playing Deva or Winston or one of those diver type tanks, you can completely shut these characters down. You might be kind of going 1-for-1 and wasting a lot of your time, but you're wasting a lot of the enemy's time too, and you're evening out the game, and that's all you can really hope for to do against Smurfs. I think that's really important because, yeah, as you go higher, for some reason there's just even more Smurfs, and they'll start to admit that they're Smurfs also. I don't know why, but that just keeps happening to me. But that's kind of how you can deal with that. And it doesn't, you know, it's not foolproof, but it is a way to, I guess, help yourself a little bit when you're trying to rank up. But anyways, that's kind of all I did to rank up in this game. The final thing, I'm going to say the actual final thing, is that you just have to put in a lot of time and a lot of practice and think about every single play you make. If you make a really stupid play, think about why you did it. And oftentimes I'm making dumb plays and I'm making mistakes. And I can't even believe I got to Masters, but I eventually did. And I believe a lot of you guys can too. Some of your gameplay might even be way better than mine, but just think about what you're doing wrong and what ways you're throwing and how you can fix those. And once you do that, I think you're going to be able to climb really dang quickly. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know this was a little bit more of a story time than anything else, but hope that you still learn a little bit about how to rank up to this rank, at least from what I did. But anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hit that sub button if you want to see more in the future. Hit that notification button as well. And as always, have a wonderful day.